Hello everyone, this is Donovan. I'm gonna throw this little video guys at you. Little VuhDo healing raid frame tutorial, how to set that up. Alright, so once you install VuhDo off of Curse, you'll get and log in, you'll see all this up here. We're on my Paladin, which I don't play very much. It's pretty much just a crafting alt. So you have this big glop of frames up here, and then you have a mini-map button that you need to watch for. Alright. First off, let's get these frames all separated. Take the one with your frame in it and put it over there. Alright, so private tanks and main tanks, these frames I have found use for on occasion, but for the most part you can just ignore them. The VuhDo buff watch bar is quite useful. I like it. You don't have to use it, but I'll show you how to set it up. So the first things first, we want to get rid of these things, so we're going to do that by opening up the options. Okay. You have your main section headings down here on these tabs. These are all the different pages and then separate options within those. But to get rid of these, we're going to go to Panels. I'm sorry. We're going to go to Move. I'll help you move stuff around. This is where your raid frame is in Panel 1. We want to get rid of pets, private tanks, and main tanks. Some healers do not heal pets at all under no circumstances. I tend to keep mine up so I can heal them if I have time. Obviously not a priority, but for the purposes of this tutorial we're going to get rid of it, but the pets will automatically populate there. Alright, so the pet's frame itself is separate from this in here, so you actually have to delete both of them separately. So we've gotten rid of that. The buff watch bar we want to keep. Panel 1 is where we already are, so if we want to see what that looks like in a 10-man mode, that's what the raid frames would look like. The sizing and colors and everything else you can change, but we'll go over that later. You can hold to a 5, show a 25. We'll leave it at 10 for now, but okay. So back to the original frame here. Under General, again, I don't change anything in General. As you get more experience, you might find some options in there you want to change, but for the most part you don't need to. The spell selection is where you spend a lot of time. This is how you set up your left click, right click, shift click, button 5, middle click, your mouse wheel, all that stuff. Okay. What this is allowing you to basically just click on these raid frames to cast a spell. Alright, so left button, since I'm a Holy Paladin, what is it, Holy Light. Now as I type the spell name, you see a spell showed up here, that tells you that it recognizes it as a valid spell. Right button will make Divine Light. Again, spell shows up, we're good. Middle, let's make that Holy Shock. And capitalization annoys me. And there again. Button 4, you know, make whatever you want. You get the idea. I personally standardize on all my healers for the alt left to be like removing bleeds, and the right button to remove magic effects. So Paladin only has one cleanse, so just put it on both of them. My Priest has 2 separate ones, so it'd be 2 different spells there. One of the things that VuhDo does is in taking over your raid frames. You notice I have my other ones turned off there. But if you don't like your party frames sitting there, or the grid style party frames sitting over here on the side of the screen, you need a way to click on here on these raid frames in order to target. I set that for my control. Then I also use the menu option through VuhDo. What that does is allows you, now if I click on my raid frame here, you can see my target shows up over here. Okay. So on this, if I left click, I'm actually going to cast Holy Light. But if I control click, you see I targeted. Click off, I do not have a target. Control click, I targeted. Alright, so that's how that works. So left click Holy Light, Right click, Divine Light. Center click to do a Holy Shock. And you can set up Holy Radiance and all that good stuff as well. Now, one of the things I also like to do is using the Shift modifier. You know, if you need room for a couple extra spells or whatever the case may be, is to throw your cooldowns in there, like Avenging Wrath, you know, on a Pally Divine Favor, stuff like that. Lay on Hands would be a good one to be in here. Those longer cooldown based ones. The Hand of Salvations, Hand of Freedoms, those are really good options in there. So that's how you set those up. Now the buffs, the buff watch. Now these are things that you want to make sure are up all the time. I'm a Pally, I'm a Holy Pally, so I always want Blessing of Might. So there we go, that showed up there. Just a placeholder, now it's there. You see the red text, that means I do not have Blessing of Might. Okay. Buff's up here, I press it, bam, there it is. If I get rid of it, it turns red again. One other thing that you can do with this is watch it like that. And whenever you're missing it, it turns red here, telling you that you need to buff up with it. Obviously, you can put that wherever you want to. The auras. Again, I like to keep them all the same color. You can make them different colors if you want. It's kind of just an easy way to say, hey, check out your buff bar. If you see that red color. The beacon. The beacon you can handle through your spell selection and just shift click on somebody if you want to add it, or you can come in here at the start of the fight if the healing assignments are such that you're always going to beacon, you know, Steel Claw. You know, if that's the tank that's getting your beacon, you can put it on here. Righteous Fury if you want to use that, so if you want some aggro. That's the case there, right? So here we go. I've got 3 out of my 4 buffs, and I like to use that down there. But I'm still red. It tells me to come down here, pop that. I go green. Easy, 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 easy. One of the things about being a healer is you've got to monitor debuffs. Debuffs are easy to track with VuhDo. If you go to the debuffs tab, it has a bunch of standard ones built in that it always watches, of course. Some of your defaults that you want here. This huge buff list. All of these are in there. Look at, there's waterlogged from Ascending Council. One of the things that you want to make sure is in here is like Face Rage. If you want to, if it's not in here, you can add it. There's no Face Rage in here, so you can just come up here, type Face Rage off the Shannox fight, right? Hit save. So now we have Face Rage in this debuff list. And we can set up what we want. I want the icon. There is no animation. There is no timer on it. But we want the bar color to change to this nasty brown. So we have a skull icon defaulting, as well as it'll automatically turn brown. So when we're sitting in here, we can see that immediately. There's a bunch of that stuff. Now if those don't fit exactly the way you want them to, what you can do is come to the panels. Now I tend to make mine anchor in the right so it grows down and to the left. Okay. The sizing, this is where you can change the size. I personally don't like mine that wide, so you can just make them a little bit narrower. You change the scale, make them a little bit bigger altogether. Bars. I personally like this one right here. You can see the little blue bar underneath. That's a mana bar of that tune. So you can make them a lot bigger. I'd like mine at 5. That way I can watch everybody's mana with easy, easy, easy. This little group 1 and group 2 header up here, you can turn that off in the headers tab right here just by clicking that. Gone. Easy enough. That's pretty much all I do for setting this stuff up. The text. You see how this text is to the right, this yellow text? You can center it if you wanted to. I prefer to keep mine down to the lower right. also, one other thing I do is put the class colors on there so I can easily see priest, DK, mage, lock, that kind of stuff, druid. But that's all there is to setting up VuhDo. And now you can click cast to your heart's delight. My name is Goofus, and I'm a moron. Have a good day.